What's up, Dungeon Crushers? Zealot here, back with another Dungeon Crusher Soul Hunters video. If you enjoy Dungeon Crusher content, hit the like button, subscribe, and join me as we keep figuring this game out together. Today, we're diving into how to get the Cursed Scroll with the weakest deck possible. That's going to be getting past floor 20 in Labyrinth. Let's hop in and see what we can find out. All right, let's take a look at this Labyrinth deck and see how much it changed from last week. The biggest factor is going to be the weekly hero is going to change, and that should have a huge impact. So let's take a look. You'll see on the first row here that I still have my expendable group of heroes, just there to die and buff a little bit. Next, you'll see I changed my weekly hero to match this week's stronger hero. Also, I decided to keep those 3 damage dealers just because they're pretty common, and this is gonna be our control deck again. And now we have our buffers, the same ones I used last time, also very common. And the last one's going to be Labyrinth as our reviver. Fortunately, we have this week's hero, Putch to be our another reviver. And I also have a defender on Putch, which is gonna sway this deck a little bit, so keep that in mind. And if we remember from last time, our biggest issue was consistency and keeping our revivers alive to continue to buff. So I think Budge is gonna kind of satisfy that a little bit. All right, let's hop in and see how it goes. So far, deck's working like it's supposed to. Yeah, we're getting a lot more revives already. But expendables are dead, and the next line comes in. You can see that Ligneath here is surviving because Budge has defender, and we're getting way more revives. So our damage is staying a lot more consistent and everybody's staying alive. And everything seems to be going pretty well. Damage still pretty low. Putch is carrying the fight. Yeah, but we won, so I'll take it. So far, the control deck worked. Let's see how far we can get with it. This is going to be the exact same fight, so I'm going to expect the same result. Let's see what happens. Yep, opening works. First line's gone, mostly. And second line's free to come in. Now we're doing damage and fighting. Like it's going well. Yeah, 5 rounds. That's not so bad. All right, let's see if this deck can continue performing. I imagine we're going to have the same result because it's about the same strength heroes, or bosses rather, but let's see. Yeah, pretty standard. Same thing. Deck's doing what we want it to do. Bosses are dying. People are getting revived. People are dying. All right. Yeah, not quite as fast as the last round, but we're still getting through it. Let's see. Hopefully we have enough attacks, because it looks like Putch is the only one actually killing anything. So that's interesting. I think, honestly, we're going to need some assassin. Pure damage would make a huge difference here. But we got him on turn 10. Nice. All right, let's go to round 4. I'm expecting the same results. I'm going to speed it up a little bit more because it's been pretty consistent so far. We'll stop at any notable parts, but we'll kind of just watch this one through, speed it up a little more. And sorry about the format change. I recorded these ones on my phone, and the first ones I had recorded on my computer. So, but yeah, look, fight's going about the same. Still not as good as that turn 5 one, but we're making progress. Probably end on turn 10 again. So, but lots of buffs, lots of, like I'm saying, I think our first change, if we fail, is going to just be putting Maris in there. That'll make a huge difference with pure damage for the other damage dealers. Hit record a little late on this one, so you don't get to see the starting screen, but this is the dreaded zealot level. So let's go over that a little bit. If you don't know already, the zealot is going to silence anyone that doesn't have immunity to debuff inherently, and then everybody that enters is going to get silenced. and it makes it very difficult to kill him. Plus, he has two opening buffs. The first one he does all the time, and that's when he silences everybody. And the second one, there's a chance to do it. I don't know what the chance is, but if he does the second buff, then you will do little to no damage unless you have pure damage. Or you have a way to revive one of your revivers and then revive some other heroes, but that is very difficult to do. Let's talk about the deck a little bit since I don't have a good way to revive heroes. And at this level, since we're going for a week anyway, you're not going to either, most likely. So, my basic strategy is to take my strongest heroes and just throw them in there and just hope he doesn't do his second buff so that way I can kill him and get him out of the way. It's not the greatest, but it's what I can do right now. Spoiler alert, it's going to take me I think around 4 to 5 attacks to kill him just because he buffs himself a couple times. So I'm going to fast forward through those and then we will stop and look at the one that he doesn't buff on and you'll see the damage change. All right, we have arrived at my favorite part of Labyrinth, watching this dirty scoundrel die. So look, he didn't buff the second buff here. So here we are. Look at that damage. Ooh, baby, that's the stuff. Now he will die. And all that heartache for no reason. Sometimes he doesn't buff on the first round and you get to kill him right away. But this one took me, I think, 4 attacks just to kill him. Mind you, not finish the level. So I end this one here, I'm pretty sure, because now I gotta swap decks back to our control deck. Now the zealot's dead, and we can kind of take a look at how this fight goes. She's gonna be a little stronger than what we've been fighting, so let's see what happens. I noticed I didn't speed this one up, so let's speed it up. Looks like everything's going normal. I think our big issues here is we're not going to get as many revives from Out Punch, so we're not going to be nearly as strong. But it does not look good so far. I think this might be our first failed attempt. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, not even close. Alright, now that we've failed our single attack, we're going to make a change. And I think the only change I want to make right now is putting Maris in. He's going to give everybody Assassin, and that's going to give everybody 40% pure damage, and I think that's going to make the difference. So let's take a look. Alright, here we go. Let's see what happens. Everybody's got Assassin now, and yeah, look at that damage already just from everybody without any buffs. This guy's not long for this world. So I think this will be our new deck moving forward. Yeah, look at that. 3 rounds. That's insane. That's a huge difference. As you can see, I kept an attack counter in the corner, so I've got about 10 attacks into this, and I ended up having to use a couple of my own dust to extend this out, but 10 attacks to get past the first 5 rounds is not that bad for a pretty weak deck. This seems to be a pretty good natural stopping point now that we've got our new deck and we beat a zealot. Let's take this deck as far as we can, and we'll see if we can get to 20 with it. Tune in to the next video and we'll see how far we can get. And if you're having some issues and have some questions, feel free to reach out to me. Again, I'm Zealotin, and thanks for watching. Bye.